In 2019, Disney's Aladdin exploded onto the big screen with bright colors, bold music, and a box office haul that few saw coming. Directed by Guy Ritchie and led by Mena Massoud, Naomi Scott, and Will Smith, the live-action remake raked in over $1 billion worldwide. For Disney, that kind of financial success usually triggers a sequel, and in this case, it almost did. Now, more than 6 years later, we're still waiting. And for fans who had high hopes for Aladdin 2, that wait may be permanent. Not long after Aladdin soared past the $1 billion mark, Disney publicly confirmed that a sequel was in development. Writers were hired. The returning cast was expected to reprise their roles. It even looked like the new film would borrow story elements from Aladdin and the King of Thieves, a 1996 direct-to-video animated sequel that followed Aladdin's journey to meet his long-lost father, the King of Thieves. At the time, the setup seemed ideal. Guy Ritchie, known for his gritty yet stylized storytelling in films like Snatch and The Man from U.N.C.L.E., had successfully brought Agrabah to life. Pairing him with a story that focused on a morally gray character like Aladdin's father could have created something unique, something that pushed beyond the typical fairy tale structure. Despite all the early momentum, the sequel quietly faded into the background, and the updates that did emerge weren't exactly encouraging. In 2022, Mena Massoud mentioned in an interview that while the script existed, it needed work. The tone wasn't negative, but it wasn't particularly hopeful either. A year later, a tweet from Massoud painted a much bleaker picture. He suggested the sequel was now very unlikely to happen. The post was eventually deleted, but the message lingered. Disney, for its part, offered no official response. No confirmation, no denial, just silence. There are a few key reasons the sequel may have stalled. For starters, Disney's live-action strategy hasn't been as bulletproof as it once seemed. The Little Mermaid underperformed at the box office, and Peter Pan and Wendy struggled to capture audience interest. This prompted Disney CEO Bob Iger to announce in 2023 that the studio would scale back on high-budget projects. If you're looking at a sequel like Aladdin 2, which would require large sets, CGI-heavy scenes, and returning A-list talent, it's not hard to see why Disney might be hesitant. There's also the issue of time. A 6-year gap between movies isn't ideal for a direct sequel, especially if the story is meant to pick up soon after the original. The aging of the cast becomes a logistical hurdle, and reassembling the original team might be more costly now than it was in 2019. Naomi Scott has seen her career grow significantly, and scheduling or budget constraints could be more complicated now. And of course, there's the elephant in the room, Will Smith. Following the highly publicized Oscars incident in 2022, Smith's involvement in major studio projects has been uncertain. While some studios have slowly started to re-engage with the actor, Disney may be cautious about reintroducing him as one of the leads in a high-profile family film. It's unfortunate, because Aladdin and the King of Thieves had the potential to be more than just a cash-grab sequel. The animated film was one of the better Disney follow-ups from that era, featuring themes of identity, legacy, and fatherhood, ground that hadn't been fully explored in the original. In live action, that story could have added emotional depth while still delivering the action and spectacle audiences expect from a Disney blockbuster. It also could have redefined what these remakes are capable of, showing that sequels don't just have to rehash, but can expand and enrich beloved stories. Is there still hope? Technically, Aladdin 2 has never been officially cancelled. That means it still exists in a kind of creative limbo, a script sitting in a drawer somewhere, waiting for the right moment to be revived. But the longer the silence continues, the less likely that moment becomes. Shifting priorities at Disney, aging actors, rising costs, and changing public sentiment are all working against the sequel's chances. Could it still happen someday? Sure. Studios have brought back long-dormant franchises before. But for now, it seems that the magic carpet ride has landed, and the chances of it taking off again are slim. What happened to Aladdin 2 is a reminder that box office success doesn't always guarantee a follow-up, especially in an entertainment landscape that's constantly shifting. Whether the sequel is revived or left in the past, it's a fascinating case study in how even billion-dollar films can stall out when the timing, circumstances, and creative momentum no longer align. For fans, it may be time to accept that Aladdin 2 lives on only in possibility, for now. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments.